Here we go again, Eagles fans, man. Jalen Hurts threw 2 interceptions, so you know the world got a whole lot to say about it. We're going to talk about that in the video. We're also going to talk about the person who got those interceptions. Rick Woolen got both interceptions, one for a touchdown. He's been very, very valuable to this defense, and he's going to cause a lot of problems. We're going to get heavily into that in this video. Stay tuned. LaShawn McCoy is so tired of people microscoping Jalen Hurts, and I think he used that word microscope. Um, everything that Jalen Hurts does was interceptions and stuff like that. Mainly the same thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is kind of what Shady's pointing out. On Emmanuel Acho's show, where Emmanuel Acho loved to talk about Jalen Hurts' I guess shortcomings, if you would say so, because he never talk about anything positive that Jalen Hurts does. He always talk about the shortcomings of it, and I love when Shady's on. Sometimes Shady's not on, and he just get to ramble on about everything that he don't believe Jalen Hurts can do well. And Shady tends to put a stop to it. Most times he's on the show, he tends to put a stop to it. But he got tired of it, and Shady spoke up, and it's pretty much the exact same thing that we all thought, and we all pretty much know of with Jalen Hurts' play in training camp. We are going to talk about his performance for the day. It was pretty mediocre. It was pretty mediocre from what we've seen him do. So maybe he was taking more game time decisions in this training camp, very last day of training camp. But after that, we're going to get into Sean Mannion's play breakdown. Some of the things that Sean Mannion ran in this practice, in last night's practice, it looks genius. It looks genius, man. Not to put no pressure on Sean Mannion at all, but some of the concepts that he comes up with seems pretty genius. And we're going to talk about that in the video, and I'm going to point out a play to you and kind of explain to you, or try to explain to you, how he was able to get people open. We're going to talk about what Jalen Hurts does right. Right after we let Shady put out the fire of Emmanuel Acho. We're gonna show some plays in which he actually did right. And as you know, Jeffery Lurie is being inducted to the Eagles Hall of Fame as a CEO, as chairman of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're gonna go through a couple of his compliments. I mean his accomplishments, and he's clearly one of the best owners of this league. There's not many that's in front of Jeffery Lurie. That's not an opinion. I got stats to back that. So, with all that being said, let's get into it.
Yeah, I done fell so many times, but I got back up. I've been drugged through the mud, like it ain't been enough. I'm still going, 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 still going. And I done felt so much pain that I wanna give up, but I just can't stop now, cause I've been through too much. I'm still going, 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 still going.
All right, let's get into what he did today. This is the very last day of training camp, 17 days of training camp, and this is the very last day of it. Jalen Hurts did 7 for 14, 50%, 50% passing. He did have a touchdown. He had no interceptions, so it's gonna be pretty boring for the people who like to talk on Jalen Hurts' interceptions. It's gonna be pretty boring for you. Got no content on this one. While we're into that, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the interceptions right before we let Shady go ahead and break down. Why this is kind of ridiculous that people go so hard on Jalen Hurts' training camp interception. But Jalen Hurts threw 2 picks in the practice, and Tyreek Woolen was the beneficiary of these picks. Tyreek Woolen, man, is going to be such a great player for us. He's got really good hands. He's got great speed. He's got length. And when he's locked in on his technique, he is very hard to beat. Very hard to beat. You might have guys in the A.J. Brown area beat him, but Devontae Smith. I threw Devontae Smith in there because Devontae Smith has beaten him in training camp. He's beaten him in plays. He's beaten Quinyon Mitchell in plays. So Devontae Smith, we're gonna go ahead and put Devontae Smith up there because he like that. He like that. But Reek Woolen is gonna be so big for this team, man. Last year we had to like roll coverages and Adoree Jackson started playing well. To Adoree Jackson's credit, he did start. He did came back. He played pretty well down the stretch. He got confident and he was making some plays. But it won't be nothing like a Pro Bowler. It won't be nothing like a Pro Bowler. As good as the Adoree Jackson turned out to be after the start of the season, this is gonna be different. We got this, and then we got the safeties. Safeties are very underrated on this team. We know what this pass rush is gonna look like. And while we talking about the pass rush, Jalen Hunt, I'm gonna throw a shout out. Jalen Hunt beat Fred Johnson on a pass rush because Lane Johnson tweaked something and he was on the sidelines. No Markel Bell because he's dealing with the thumb and the leg. So Fred Johnson was in there and Jalen Hunt beat him. Jalen Hunt is gonna put up some numbers this year. I kind of want to give him double digits. He did 6 sacks last year. I want to give him 8. I'm gonna go 8. If you listen to this, man, and if you got something you want to put on there as far as Jalen Hunt sacks total, let me get some predictions. Of what he. Let's keep it logical though. Let's keep it logical. I'm thinking 8. 8 this year, and the only reason I'm going 8 because Nolan Smith is healthy. Jalen Carter is healthy. It's gonna be a lot of one-on-ones. It's gonna be who get it faster, who get there faster. And Jalen Hunt got to beat Nolan Smith out to get there faster. Nolan Smith is a fast dude. So I mean that's the only reason I'm giving 8. I would love to hear y'all predictions, y'all sack predictions for Nolan for Jalen Hunt in the comments. Let me know because I read them. All right, now let's talk about Shady tired. He tired of hearing so much negativity surrounding Jalen Hurts. The microscope is what he used. He said, "Man, he's never seen any quarterback be on a microscope like this."
This is practice. He's trying to get his timing down. He's throwing an out route to his receiver and they got picked off. Okay, cool. We move on. You learn from it. We had a clip of A.J. Brown the other day. He was talking about, are you getting ready for the Eagles to come into training camp against you guys with the Patriots? He said, no, I'm trying to work on my craft. Jalen Hurts right now is working on his craft. If he picked the ball, cool. Now he knows, okay, I gotta be a little earlier. I was late on his pass. That's why we have practice. I think we overreact every time Jalen Hurts does anything. True. Because the truth is, the first pick he had was super late over the middle. You know what's going to happen in a real game? He's going to scramble and take off. He looked to the right, he looked to the left, nobody's there, I'm going to scramble.
Yeah, he's not throwing that.
But it's like, we can't even practice without everybody being so critical of the kid. It's just crazy. I've never seen a quarterback that is so under a microscope on everything he does. He don't get in trouble off the field. He don't do nothing wrong.
I agree. There's things that Jalen Hurts is going to try in practice because it's practice. Him throwing that first pick or the second pick, whichever the one that was where he was trying to get Hollywood Brown and I think it was Mekhi Lemon. He was trying to get Mekhi Lemon and Reek Woolley came over there to pick that off. He's not throwing that in the real game. He's throwing these tight window things because he's challenging himself. He ain't just going to sprint off and run. He's challenging himself to make big plays. And with his arm. And that's the reason he threw that. He don't throw that in the game. So he's going to do a lot of stuff trying to figure out what he can get away with in live practices. You know what I'm saying? This offense has the potential to be really, really good. Really, really good. You saw Jalen Hurts do some really good. The connection between him and Devontae Smith is so good. So good. They done put plays together to get Devontae Smith the ball. Devontae Smith, I know a lot of fans are mad about Devontae Smith dropping the deep bomb, but Jalen Hurts, he's going to understand this. You got to put a little more. You got to put a little more zip on that. That's got to get there faster. That's got to get there much faster than that. Devontae Smith had to pull up to go get that ball. And if you let Quinyon Mitchell, who's very strong, he's a very strong defender. If you let Quinyon Mitchell get over there to where he can put his hands on your arms, you will not reach that ball. He's done it to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's strong as hell. You will not reach that ball. Between him and Cooper DeJean, they got this thing. If they grab your arms, you will not get your arm up to grab that ball. So if you put your hand out there like that and they grab onto your arms, you not catching that shit. You have to be some kind of strong. Like A.J. Brown is pretty strong. And he had trouble catching those. If Q gonna be right up on you, you'll have a hard time, a tough time catching it. And I know Devontae Smith makes some good contact catches. This is different. Devontae Smith outran him. He shouldn't have had to come back for that ball. This is something Jalen Hurts gonna know though. This is something he gonna know. With the plays of Sean Mannion, the things that he's doing for this offense, I get so much hope watching it. I have up a picture of how the routes are gonna be drawn up and what they trying to get done. Over the middle of the field, you have Mekhi Lemon breaking in on Cooper DeJean. If you lead him, you can make that throw. I think Jalen Hurts can make that throw if he lead him. But he has a mismatch on Saquon Barkley running up on a linebacker. If this is the kind of plans we're going to do, you're going to keep people in zone. And if they play man, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. We got too many receivers. Well, we got two of them. We got two of them for sure. They're so good at beating man coverage. Devontae Smith, even in the practice with this really great defense, had such, I wouldn't say easy, but he was always consistently getting separation against man on man. Man on man, Devontae Smith is hard to guard. If you put him in a zone, you can do a little something. But man to man, he is so hard to guard. People gonna have to play us man to man. And that's if the running game don't do its job. People gonna have to play us man to man because the zone concepts that we have, it breaks down zones. It makes people do stuff that they don't normally do. If you look at that play that I just showed you, Devontae Smith, I think that's Devontae Smith on the edge, on the right side of the field. Devontae Smith is up there with a safety. You know what that happened. You know that they can't jump with him. They can't jump with him. That is a touchdown. That is a touchdown. If you trust Smitty to go up and get that ball, that's a touchdown. The weight, how fast he gets up, and how high he jumps, that is a touchdown. So you gotta play it in these awkward ways. People are gonna play some man. We're gonna tear their ass to pieces. This is gonna be a big year for Jalen Hurts, man. We running the play. If you see this is the Saquon Barkley touchdown. If you see this touchdown, he got a one-on-one with a linebacker and attacked the linebacker deep. On a wheel route deep. He ran right up to him and went right past him. That reminds me of the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos had a really good defense all year long. All year long. Now, what happens over there in the AFC is they have good defenses. Their offenses is garbage. Most times, their offense is not prolific enough to go one-on-one with an NFC team. It's just not. It's just not. You had the Seahawks, and they did some stuff offensively, but in the playoffs and in really tough games, you got to scheme stuff. They ain't have no big time. They had a receiver. They had one receiver and a run game, and they were able to beat an NFC team, an AFC team that was running over people. We don't need to go out there and put up 40 points a game. I think with this offense, we're capable of it, but we don't need to do that. This run game will be alive. It will be alive. We can score fast. And Jalen Hurts is somebody who said plenty of times, we have a lot of ways we can play this game. We have a whole lot of ways that we can play this game. He actually talked to Brian Baldigger about throwing with his feet because a lot of people don't know what that means. I was one of them. So I listened to it, and this is what he said.
You talked about a new system.
Yeah.
Tell me, I'm looking at your shoes here. Shoes look good, but you throw with your feet in this system. Is that anything that you have never heard before, Jay? Is that normal? Is that what everybody does at this position? I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, well, I think in the coaching room, it's everybody has a different perspective of how they try to run those same plays, and I think that's what I've seen throughout my career. And in this system, is definitely more tied to trying to stay in rhythm, stay on pace, play with your feet. As you grow, as you evolve, everything kind of changes, and you got to roll with those changes. So it's been good. I like.
It's rhythm plays. It's rhythm plays. The ball's supposed to come out at a certain time, and that's kind of what made Jordan Love and is it Michael or Mikael? No, I don't know what the dude's name is. Mikael something. The dude behind Jordan Love, but on the Packers. This what made them pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Jordan Love is all that great, but he had this scheme, which he still has the scheme. He still had the scheme that works for him. Then he had a quarterback coach who helped him understand it. Best thing about having Sean Main is he can break it down for you. He can tell you what he means, so you know why you're doing certain things. And that's big for Jalen Hurts. Obviously, because we seen what it looked like when Kevin Petula couldn't tell him what he was doing it for. You're just doing it just to do it, and then you don't believe in offense, so you don't run it like you believe in offense. Jalen Hurts is running this like it's his offense. Jeffery Lurie. Jeffery Lurie is a Hall of Fame owner, if I ever seen one. He will be inducted to the Hall of Fame in October 26th. He's going to be on the Monday night halftime game against the Dallas Cowgirls. Jeffery Lurie is one of 5 owners who has a 300 combined win total. He's won it 300 times. He's been to the Super Bowl 4 times since he's been an owner. He's won 2 of them. 50-50. 50-50. That's pretty good. The second most wins with 315 amongst owners since 1994. Jeffery Lurie's been winning. Just like Nick Sirianni been winning, Jeffery Lurie been winning. He don't deal with that loser shit too long. A .569 win percentage is the 4th best of all post margin errors. Post margin errors. Jeffery Lurie, all he want to do is win. He'll do whatever it takes to win. He'll do whatever it takes to win. And he went and got a quarterback with the mindset of that. And that's just on the field. Jeffery Lurie, he breaks records almost every year for the Autism Foundation and what they're able to raise. He takes it very seriously. He gets the boys out there. They ride bikes, whatever it is it takes to get the numbers up on autism awareness. If y'all did not know, my son is autistic, so it hit home for me. When I found out, it actually hit home for me. So, Jeffery Lurie deserves this, man. You know what I'm saying? People talk about how long. If you look at when we drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr., Jeremiah Trotter Jr. didn't even remember Jeffery Lurie, but Jeffery Lurie remembered Jeremiah Trotter Jr. when he was a child, certain stuff. Before his mom died, he knew him before then as a young pup. So Jeffery Lurie, he actually cares about the players. It seems like he actually cares about the players. So if any owner deserves to make Hall of Fame, he'll be Hall of Fame in the Eagles for the Philadelphia Eagles. But if anybody deserves to be a Hall of Fame CEO, chairman, and owner, it's Jeffery Lurie. So congratulations, Jeffery Lurie. That is all I got, man. Like, comment, subscribe, turn those post notifications on so y'all stop missing these videos. Let's go.